I have just received such a good question from Spaceman. Thank you very much. And I'm going to read it here. The question is, I'm not clear on what we are. If we are not real, if self is an illusion and we don't really exist, what is our consciousness? Do we really have consciousness outside of self? Or is all the information happening between our ears and will cease to exist when our physical body dies? And I want to say thank you so much for writing. I can completely hear the panic in your voice. I can hear the understanding it and the grasping to understand all of it, and then it feels like it's slipping through your fingers, like you get it, and then all of a sudden you don't get it, and it comes like in those glimpses. So I'm really, really happy that you wrote, because the place where you're at right now, it's where you're standing like with one foot in each camp, if you can say it like that. That you have become aware that a part of you is the ego. First of all, you have become aware that your perception of reality is created from your sense experiences. You realize that what you perceive as reality is only happening because you have all your senses with your hearing and tasting and smelling and feeling and thinking and all that. So that part you're aware of. The next thing that you then become aware of is that, okay, if there's not a separate self, then why am I worried about exams and mortgage and the fight I had with my partner here the other day? And why, if that is not real, then why does it feel so real? And then from your question, it's also clear that you understand that, well, it's because of the ego, that the ego is that part of us that is very, very self-centered and very focused, seeing itself as I am here as a separate entity. And I am here as a separate entity. I have my thoughts, that's another part of it. I have my body, that's another part of it. This is my house, that's another part of it. We have nature out there, that's another part of it. And then all the other people in there, another part of it. That's how the ego perceives it. And that is why it is so complicated to hear the non-duality videos. That is completely turning that upside down. Because where you're at now, you have realized that the thoughts that you have are the ones that are creating the identity of the ego. So when you sit and you feel that, yes, there's a separate self, there's thoughts happening in me and in my body, but the one that is perceiving the thoughts is a separate entity. What you have just realized is that separate entity is also just a thought. So the separate entity is a thought, as well as the thoughts the separate entity is thinking, and the perception of this is my body, that is just a thought too. So you're completely correct when you say, oh my goodness, let me get this straight. That means that there is no self, but where's the consciousness? And that's such a good question. I can hear a little bit of panic in your voice with the last question where you ask, is all information happening between our ears and will cease to exist when our physical body dies? And the answer is obviously yes, of course. Because, and please take a paper bag and breathe in it if you need that. Because whatever you perceive as reality is happening through your senses, right? All that information is stored in your brain, and in that, a separate self of someone believing itself is created, right? That means that when the physical body and is no longer existing and the senses are no longer existing, that separate entity that believing itself to exist is ceasing to exist too. And that is what is scaring the ego so much. We know that we have a body, and that body is going to decay. We are going to get sick, we are going to get old, and we are going to die. We know that, but not today, and not tomorrow, and not next week, and not for the next 50 years. That is what the ego wants us to think. And whenever we do get sick, we kind of get surprised about that. That I don't understand why I get sick. I live so healthy. I don't understand why I get sick. But that is typical ego, because logic is that it will obviously happen. It's one of those parts of the ego that is so unrealistic. It's not viewing reality as reality. It has this screwed picture of what reality is, and it has expectations to reality that makes no sense at all. But the good news is that where you're at right now, where you understand that the illusion of a self that you are creating for yourself, and the perception of an ego that are so afraid of losing everything and wants to control everything, that is just an illusion too. That's just a thought too. Clearly understand that there's something else going on. And that is what I mean with when I say that you have like a foot in each camp. The other part of the ego is the authentic. It's when you are feeling a lot of things and you pull yourself up and you observe what is going on instead of feeling it and being in it and drowning in it and creating thought and suffering and all of that. Instead, whenever you have a sense experience, you can observe what is going on. And that means that if somebody says something to you and you get concerned, or you hear this message and you get concerned, then sit and breathe and pull your awareness into an observing what is happening in your body right now when you hear this message. You might feel fear. What is the fear about? If there is no you, then you cannot cease to exist, obviously. So what is the fear actually about? Is it about that you are now getting in contact with the unlimitedness that you are? Because what I have experienced a lot of times in my groups, it is that the majority of people, they're completely fine with knowing that they're not okay, and they need to work with self-development to become okay. Most people will pay a lot of money to learn how to do that. The majority of people are not interested in being told that they are exactly like they're supposed to be, that nothing needs to change, because they already are what they're seeking to become. The majority of people don't want to hear that. So if you can sit, for example, right now, when you get this message and think, okay, observe what is happening in you. What is happening when I'm telling you that you're completely fine as you are? That you are going to discover what is clearly happening to you right now. It's 8 minutes ago you wrote this post. So it's clearly happening and very much alive in you right now. That you are becoming aware that there's something else going on. That there's a part of you that is not what you thought you were. But something is going on that you haven't been aware of. And that awareness, that aliveness that you have in that is beyond anything you can imagine at the moment. Because we are very, very limited when we believe that we are restrained in this body and we're restrained in the physical being, and we're nothing but that, and we are our past, and and the only future we can have is the one that we can imagine. We're very, very restrained by that. You're so much more than that. It's like you have like this muddy cover on you where you don't see yourself clearly. But underneath that, you can observe what is happening. What is happening right now in your body when you hear this message? What is happening? Do you feel a knot in your tummy? Okay, breathe into it. What is that about? Just breathe into it. Is it uncomfortable, or is it actually a bit of excitement? Find out what is going on in you physically right now. And then you will start to untangle, what is actually going on. When you practice yourself in always observing what is happening. So whenever you have a feeling, you pull yourself up and you observe what is going on. What is going on? Keep asking, keep, making all the inquiries. What is going on right now? And just feeling what is happening, observing what the feeling are telling you. All of a sudden you will start to experience that whatever you're feeling, it's not intimidating anymore. It's like your mind can't feel the urgency of the drama anymore. It just falls away, and instead you are observing that, I actually feel all the different signs of anxiety or anger. Or that's a bit odd. If everything is created in my mind and I'm creating everything, why am I creating this right now? And then you will start to realize that just as a scent of a strawberry can come into your nose and then disappear again, it's exactly the same with the thoughts. If you don't hook onto a thought, but you just allow the thought to be there, observe what is happening, the thought will evaporate again completely on its own without you doing anything. And in that, and the next step that is going to happen is that you're going to see completely clearly that the entire identifying that you have done with the ego was just an illusion. Whenever you can sit and just observe that bizarre illusion identifying thing happening, it completely dissolves. And when you're in the observer and you're no longer identifying, then for example, when I'm sitting and saying that, yes, of course, the consciousness that you believe is you is gonna, disappear when you're not here anymore. Of course it is. It can't do anything else. All of a sudden, because you're no longer identifying with it, you hear it exactly like it's meant. Not with any threads or hooks or hidden meanings or anything, but just exactly like it's said. And that creates so much freedom, because there's no longer anything tying you down or holding on to you. There's like this just pure being. Yeah. There are lots of other steps. I've actually been thinking about doing something that's a little bit dangerous, to put in like the different, stages of development that we have, to start from where we are, and then to, become aware, become awake. The problem with that is that the ego really, really loves that. Ooh, then there's something I can do. Something, it's like small cookies love it. Then there's something I can do. Whereas as soon as you have realized, then there are no stages. It's just happening. It's just that, flux that is happening all the time. But I do think that it would be helpful, for example, for where you are at right now, to see that what you are experiencing, it's exactly super predictable. It is exactly what everybody experiences when they're at that exact spot where you're at right now in your acknowledgement and your awareness and your awakeness. It's the same thing that all of us are experiencing. And it is part of the path or the steps that we are taking towards understanding this. So there are stages that can be, explained. The danger with it is that the ego is going to grasp and want to, do more of that and do it better and all of that. But I think we can just, take it one step at a time and see how it goes. I really hope this was an answer you could use. I hope that I haven't scared you out of your wits, but that you know, keep looking at at all the videos that I have here on the channel, and keep searching, listening to different non-duality teachers. Listen to someone where you feel that when they speak, that they speak to you. There's so many different choices of teachers at the moment, so you can pick and choose between the one that feels like you have a connection with the person. That is the most important thing. And there's somebody for everyone. There's somebody for everyone. So find one where you feel that there's like that connection, and then take it for the steps that you need, and then you might find another one and you know, take other steps for that person. So yeah, I hope you could use that. Thank you.